Everyone's so happy that the Gallagher brothers are back. How long is the article? Just to see. It looks manageable. So 15 years where it looks real in archive footage. Yeah, it's got real people in it instead of, you know, nothing wrong with tourists and that, but like at some point it's like, what happened to the people that used to live here? Yeah, get out, yeah.
It's fine, it's cool. You can say the
Big Crockett rides around and says it's cool for cats, it's cool for cats. The Sweeney's doing 90 cause they've got nowhere to go. They get a gang of villains in a shed up at Heathrow. They're counting out the fivers when he...
Well, a few seconds of the tweet too, because I've got a problem with it already. I'm here. I've got a problem with this already. I'm sure you can see what the problem is, right? Like, there's two problems there. This isn't the choice of material that I would actively seek out nor would I want this to appear in my history. You know, if the cops come in and like, you know, seize all my equipment, I'd rather they found like, you know, like outrageous stuff on Pornhub as opposed to these two muppets in my browser history.
When I look at where I'm coming from, I know I'm blessed, and I close my eyes and smile. Sometimes I feel like the richest man in Babylon, and I've done my best. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Sometimes I'm lost and far from home, but I'll find my way. I follow my heart, I know I'll be found someday. While I'm lost, I learn and live. What do you say? Let's have a good time until that day. Oh, every morning.
You're joking. Babe, you fuck.
What a goal! That is spectacular! Jack Iredale with his first goal for Hibs. They have been rewarded for their second half positivity, and that was a screamer!
Morning. If only you knew. Oh my goodness me. Morning to you, Nigel, from a dull España. So, oh, come on. Not even got a coffee. Had to do a full reset. Wouldn't stream. I mean, have I ever been late? I thought my timekeeping has been exceptional. And what happens? Lunes. Grande problem de la lunes. But we're here now, right? I had everything perfect. And now it's all gone. Anyway. What we've got a full house of cats. Good morning, Bob and everybody. Look, we're running late. We're 7 minutes in. It's unlike me. I've not even got a coffee. I'm going to go and get a coffee in a minute. Like, normally I go and get my coffee. I'm like, right, boom, go and get my coffee. Dub Monday, Matty Ross, how's that knee? Nigel, you're hitting me from two angles. Do you know what I mean, man? You can't trust the technology. Morning to you, my damn guy. Raj one, Bella Vision. No being tuned in for a while. Apologies. Everybody's always apologetic. You're forgiven. I am streaming on X. I am now. I'm streaming everywhere now. Had deleted my Twitter, didn't I? Just delete it all. Let's get rid of it all. Morning to you, my Capella. Go and get a coffee. Or maybe I will. Just give me a minute. We'll try and tackle some of the issues of the day. Right, where do we begin? I'll tell you where we begin, right? First of all, no luck, Jambos. Sorry, Nigel. But especially for you those manky dickheads that pulled down that Palestine flag. I'm Nigel and so is my wife. Okay. Yes, aligned with the UK in the Ukraine. Aligned with the UK in Palestine. Get to fuck John Swinney. I wanted to look at John Swinney's thing. We'll look at it now, right? It's a bad day for the Jambos, eh? No luck. Monday morning, got to deal with all your hippie colleagues and that. Get it up, you. I couldn't have said it better myself. Little Peter, Danny, Mick, a man after my own heart. I felt a bit bad because I was a bit cheeky to Danny yesterday. I think it was the other morning there. We do generally agree, but I don't know. We had a minor disagreement about Ukraine, but I don't think, what can anybody say? Do we want Scottish soldiers getting killed? No, we didn't. Morning Xers. Have some coffee tokens, Bob. Thank you. Super chats won't let me swear, but F that C, Switty. F that C. VHS Repair, hello to you. Check out that, follow VHS Repair's YouTube. Makes good house music. Actually, I went to Oda on was it Saturday night? Saturday night. I went to Oda. It was good. It was a good vibe. It's where all the ex-pure heads go to enjoy themselves now that all their kids have grown up. It's a good vibe. I liked it. Knee is kaput for a while, but recovering. Thanks. Chances of playing for the national team hanging by a thread. Well, maybe you won't get conscripted either. Let's go. I had my files set up, but like I said, I had to do a full reset, which was like, it's knocked me. It's knocked me a wee bit, but fine, we're alright, okay. So first things first, last things last.
There's a place called Africa,
Far, far away. Did you notice?
there's a place called Africa,
Did you see
miles away.
this?
Says this where I'm from.
I'm doing a live event.
She can't
It's at the
take me back.
Augustine United Church, George IV Bridge. It's £10 plus a booking fee. It's on the 28th of March, that's the end of this month. Come along, because Bonnie Prince Bob will be live. And I'm going to show some things that I've never shown before. Talk about some stuff that I've not spoken about before. I just have a wee chatty, so come along. Because, well, we've actually, like, What the X has grown quite substantially in terms of who's actually, like, our numbers are good. Our numbers are good. Bonnie Prince Bob live. Fuck me. Aye. Listen, let's just, for anybody, did anybody miss that? Why do beta male politicians always want to send folk to war? I couldn't have said better myself. In fact, I better retweet this. In fact, everybody retweet that. Like, retweet. First of all, obviously, buy a ticket. Buy a ticket. Hi, Bob, Alan Cofanity. Respect to yourself, bro. Good to see you. Good to see your name appear. Let's have a look at what Swinney said. But did you? For anyone that never saw it, did you like my wee? Those jambos, those pesky jamboids. Message retracted. I'm always a bit. Why? Why was the message retracted? Did you say something inappropriate? There's no such thing as something inappropriate these days, is there?
You're joking. Where have you from?
What a goal! That is spectacular! Jack Iredale with his
Derby Day in Edinburgh. Yes, well, you know. I've made some classic house clips over the years. I'm going to have to go and get a coffee, like. But we'll see. Hold on. We'll keep it together, right? Now let me find John Swinney's Slaverings so we can look at that. So he did that thing that I've always went on about. If you followed my old accounts, you'll have remembered. Down here in Babylon. I like how everybody always apologises. I'm terribly sorry. I'm terribly sorry, Bob. I'm late. I'm late for What the X. Please don't be angry with me. There's no rules. There's no punishments for slack attendance. Just make sure you spread the vibe and come along to my live. Right, hold on. Quite annoying that I had it all perfect. Tribal war won't solve the problem.
Let your hands and hearts be pure and clean. If you want to
Let's see what he's got to say. Let's just silence Lee Scratch for a minute.
the red, gold, and green,
It's one of the mornings, isn't it? But it's cool. Right, let's have a look and see what it says. Right, John, what have you got to say?
I cannot see how a state visit can go ahead for President Trump to the United Kingdom if President Trump is not a steadfast...
Right, so this is what I've mentioned before, right? This is what they all do. If you go and look at any picture of Ruth Davidson, if you look at any member of the political class, right, they do this thing, fixed stare, furrowed brow, right? Just remember that, fixed stare, furrowed brow. It's what every common purpose trained twat that has ever been spunked into our faces, you know, nobody really wants spunk in their faces, maybe they, I don't know, like, you know, but anyway, this is what we get, the fixed stare, furrowed brow, the headmaster, like, what are you, who are you trying to kid, you twat?
...of ours in protecting the future of Ukraine. And that seems to me an absolutely fundamental requirement of any offer of a state visit to
a state visit. Why are you concerned about a British state visit when you're supposed to be some champion of Scottish sovereignty? Why would you give two fucks whether it was a British state, the integrity of the British state was questioned? Why would it matter?
States
fixed stare, furrowed brow.
Is that he is absolutely
he's done all this training. Have you noticed that Swinney was like a complete inepticon in the early days? Like, that's what he was, so shit, right, that he was papped from leadership 20 years ago, right? The SNP are so pathetic. They've dug up this moron who in the the interim period has gone for a whole bunch of media training, right? He's come back where he's tried to play like he's some kind of statesman, right? But he's just like a shite headmaster, right? And now he's assimilate with Starmer, right? So you've got basically like two shit mortgage advisors determined to have young men murdered by Raj Russians with tattoos that have got sort of like witchcraft associated to them and that, like, you know, it's like this is this, look at this teapot. Look at this fucking teapot twat. And who's there flying his flag? That wee knob, Ross Colquhoun. Ross Colquhoun got on my tits the other day. I started reading Ross Colquhoun's tweets and that, and I was like, Ross, ken what you are? You're a wee fanny, right? Ross Colquhoun came down here when I first got this wee place together and that. He came round sniffing around. I put it up on X the other day that I said, Ross Colquhoun, I used to play five-a-sides, right? I go along and play five-a-sides. Ross Colquhoun was one of the guys that plays five-a-sides. He kept trying to be all friendly with me, and I was like, oh, cool, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, once I'd made that thing, that saviour thing, and all the SNP folk thought I was some sort of SNP acolyte, and he was like, oh, everybody shared it in right up to the top of the party, and everybody, oh, they were all very excited, and he kept wanting to come and see me, and I was like, right. And then eventually he did come and see me, and like I said in that message, I was like, what's this? This is weird. This is a weird vibe. It was a weird vibe because he was so determined to come and see me, and he came and saw me, and then it was like, but once it was just me and him together, and it wasn't like the guys playing football and that, it was just me and him. It was like, I was like, what? Why are you here? And like, what was going on? And it was like a weird vibe, and I was like, and then they went away, and then I was like, oh, I get it. You've been sent along by your fucking wee mummy and daddy, right? Ross Cohen makes memes and that, but Ross Cohen will like endorse all these twats. Ross Cohen's up for getting Scottish boots on the ground as well, like, because he does whatever his masters tell him, like. But Ross Cohen thinks he's an artist. Ross Cohen is not an artist. Ross Cohen makes memes for the SNP, makes memes for fixed stare furrowed brow man.
Square with us in protecting Ukraine and ensuring its independence, because if we don't do that, then I think we are undermining the future of Western democracy.
Future of Western democracy. The future of Western democracy. How many votes do you get voted in on, right? How many members of the moronic electorate still subscribe to this pantomime of party politics, right? That allows a moron like you to assume some kind of quasi-presidential statesman position, like your fixed stare furrowed brow with your media training courses that you've been on for morons. Like, oh, here's another thing, just to get the record straight. I thought about this morning, right? See, when you call somebody a Mongo, if I call somebody a Mongo, right? You call somebody a Mongo, you're allowed to do that, right? If you're from Edinburgh. It's about time we started taking back aspects of our local parlance and traditions, like, because we've had Scottish culture just become this Ouija-fied kind of blancmange, right? But a Mongo's an Edinburgh word, right? And it means you're a Mongo. It doesn't mean what other people think a Mongo means. It means you're a Mongo. Like John Swinney is a Mongo, for example. Like, you know what I mean? So just to get that clear, right? It's an Edinburgh thing, right? So if we call somebody a Mongo, it's all right. It's like, it's not like, we're not saying like what other people think, but well, you're a Mongo, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically, let's just hear what this Mongo's got to fucking say.
Liberal democracy. And we cannot afford...
Liberal democracy, right, okay, right, fucking hell. Do you know what, right, I've heard enough. I've heard enough of fixed there for a break. Fucking hell, right, okay. Right. Right. I'm too tired to think of anything witty, but John Swinney is a boring man.
Brothers killing brothers just for fun.
He speaks in a pathetic, light, weakened way that sounds like a prick begging his ex to take him back. And he no longer has anger issues. No, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of any of these people, you know. Can't stand it, man. Come on. Right. Let's see what else. I tried to listen. If anybody knows how to add two aggregate devices on iOS, send me a DM, because I spent a bit too long this morning trying to figure that out, you know. Katrina Grant. Ukraine have the right to self-determination and to defend themselves, but we do not support war. Unless Swinney and Starr want to go, I'll no stop them. Nah. Come on, is that true? John Swinney's first wife cheated on him and posed for scuddy pics. I mean, I'm not really one for the sensationalist, but it's like, fair play. Why do I need my coffee? I do need my coffee, yeah, right, fair play, right, fuck it. Right, I'm going to go and get one. Just give me a minute. Decaf on the eggs. Nah, I'll wait till later, I'll get one after. Right, what else is going on? J.K. Rowling still talking. The year is 2075. A cryogenically reborn J.K. Rowling is still talking about trans people, right? It's all getting a bit silly, like, you know, we're literally getting to a point where we're going to have like folk shoveled off to die by sort of what was his name again? I can't even remember the boy's the fictional name. What is it? David Brent, Gervais's character, like, basically. So like a bunch of David Brent political class twats are itching for war, like, you know, or itching to send folk to war. It gives them an erection. It makes them feel like they're actually, like, they've got some sort of purpose. They're psychopathic, and they always have been. We can thank the bourgeois electorate for subjecting us to their slavers, like, you know. Fair play. Keir Starmer says the UK is ready to put boots on the ground and planes in the air to defend a peace deal in Ukraine. One bean on a piece of unbuttered toast, please. Follow Andrew Kerr, he's funny. Yeah, Beldam makes a true point. He's over on X. She's talking about trans people. Well, the same people who contorted themselves to carry on the trans issue have dropped it. That's correct. Like the Liberals, you notice the Liberal exodus from X and everything, you know, like a whole bunch of big-mouthed egotists that constantly, basically since the genocide started, and then since Musk let all the BAMs back onto X, there's been an exodus basically of basically people who never had any politics in the first place, but they maybe had some sort of cultural position or other, or they thought they did. And they think they've taken a superior position by going to Blue Sky, saying a few things here or there, or just not really engaging on X anymore because they're above that, they've risen above it. But it's basically a capitulation. It's a cowardly capitulation as well, but it exposes them for what they are. Most of them are like, you know, especially in Scotland, especially the folk that I even know personally, you know, they're either just sort of supplicants of the state or just frauds. They were always frauds, really, do you know what I mean? They were always fake people. But it has left this kind of weird vacuum, but I agree with what Beldam is saying there. You'll notice because the identity politics thing was always just really a kind of accessory, a virtuous accessory in many ways. It has kind of, I think there's a lack of it there, so I presume what Beldam's saying, which is what I would probably agree with, is that it's really the folk like Rowling and that. It's like the obsession is on their part, you know, because they just can't. They manufacture the oppositional force. If they're not getting it, they're not getting their fix, so they just manufacture it. I understand that mindset to a certain extent. So reflecting on that, but I think that I think that's true. That, and also like somebody like you know, you get a lot. Everybody's kind of like Lodge Rowling, like she's some sort of she can do no wrong, and it's kind of like it's the fetishization of somebody with a lot of money. It's quite vulgar. She's not said anything. She's never said anything that's a particularly searing or biting critique on culture, as far as I'm concerned. Principally, I think that there's a genuine. I share the issues that a lot of women have about the erasure of certain aspects of you know, the encroachment on female spaces. All of this stuff I think is ridiculous. Like I share a lot of the issues. I share a lot of the legitimate concerns, but I also think that there's an element of it's become an obsessive, fetishised obsession for some of these people. It becomes their personality until it doesn't. Yeah, but it goes both ways, doesn't it? Because it becomes a sort of like it's a polarised identity thing at some point. I just think it when we're existing in such a really grim culture that people are having to eke a living out of, you know. I think it exposes just the kind of the distance between those that are kind of comfortable. The irony is, it's always that thing. It's always that projection thing, because it's a bit like the same thing, isn't it? It's like they would always attack kind of the identitarian woke lot or whatever for having luxury beliefs. But I think you can argue as well that those that need to have this, you know, those that are just endlessly obsessed with men who are dressed as women or men who present as women and stuff, it's a similar sort of thing. They've created this kind of bogeyman thing, you know. Any transgression or any criminal act, it's suddenly, you know, like this is indicative of all of these people. It's simply not true. There's a couple of people on, I think it's TikTok, that I've been following, a couple of trans people, and they're just really nice people. They've got really genuine, authentic personalities, the way they're talking about things. One's a trans woman, one's a trans man, and they're both sound, you know what I mean? They're both very, very honest in their sort of observations on certain things. They're not particularly involved in the politics of it all. I think it's quite a sort of decompressing kind of like a reality check on the hubris and hype that kind of exists, because that's what social media encourages, is a kind of pathology of nonsense. You know, there's very little very little to be said about where the truth lies. You know, people get caught up in these virtual realms, and they don't. It's like everybody becomes a keyboard warrior to one extent or another. Your dad's Twitter bio says it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Yeah, it's a bit. Everybody gets a bit carried away with it. See, this is the other thing that's happened. This when QuickTime does this. This really gets somebody else. I've been moaning about this from the off, like, you know. Oh, for goodness sake. ¿Por qué? Dime por qué. Esta es problema. Momentico, por favor. Where are we? Here we go. Why does everything have to be difficult this morning? One of those Mondays, eh? It's like you can't legislate. It's like you think everyone's going to be alright. It's like it's not. It's a mess. Right. Can you hear that phone call coming through? Can I take a phone call right now? Sorry, I can't talk right now. Right. So what do we think about this? What do we think about John Swinney essentially assimilating to the Keir Starmer's British establishment line of essentially suggest, you know, basically setting us up for a war footing, you know? And then have it. I mean, that's why I mentioned the Roscoe Hoon thing in that as well, because it's like people like him who have gone from being like kind of like I say, you know, like a guy that makes memes or something, or does graphics for the SNP or something like that. As the SNP are more threatened, as reform are rearing their head, and these kind of wee sort of like gimpy sort of characters that are always on the periphery, they're just sort of like, you know, bootlickers. They always just they've not got any politics of their own. So the next, if John Swinney come out tomorrow, it was like, right, fucking, we're deploying Scottish troops and all the rest of it. These people would be just right, like lockstep with that, you know. And somebody says, was it that Peter Little guy going on, or Danny Mack or whatever, about, you know, the section of the Scottish culture that somehow have got it into their heads that the SNP had some sort of socialist position as a party or something. It's like, are we going to have a reality check on exactly what type of a political class we've got on offer here? Are we going to actually, you know, you got all these, I mean, obviously, I know it's Twitter or X or whatever, but I mean, I can't use Facebook. See, the thing about Facebook, right, is like, I didn't really use it. I post on it Instagram and it posts my posts onto Facebook. But like, you know, whenever you look at Facebook, there's a lot of like, you know, do people not realise, you know, when they write these big, huge screeds about personal experiences and stuff, and about their kind of like, you know, an interaction that they've had, it's always a place for it seems to be like their interpersonal kind of beefs get kind of like laid out, you know. It's always been like the kind of absolute apex of narcissism. I've always thought it's like, you know, if somebody's written like, I don't know, like thousands of words on a situation or whatever. It's like, do they not realise that it takes people time to read that? And it's kind of mental. I've never really got my head around that. It's always like, just like how much time do you think people have got to take an interest in, like, the situation that happened with you and your brother-in-law, or like, you know, when you were trying to return your package to, like, you know, Every or something. Do you know what I mean? Who cares? Does he want us to be in an all-day version of Star Wars Waitrose? I think that is exactly what it is. I mean, it's almost like you see Swinney now is indistinguishable. You know, like what's Swinney's position for Scotland particularly? I mean, correct me. I haven't paid a huge amount of attention to what these people are saying. But Swinney to me just seems to be kind of he's just a British state mouthpiece now, isn't he? So where does this leave? Where does this leave all these SNP acolytes? You know, and they're of it. And then we had his whole thing about uniting against the far right. That's nothing to do with anything. That's just about. It's just about the political class worried about reform. It's just about a bunch of political opportunists who have seen how vulnerable the landscape is for exploitation, because they've been ripping it for ages. That's the thing. I mean, I just don't know what else needs to be said about the vacuity or the plasticness of the political class. And I still see people on these platforms either talking about Yuns or talking about the red Tories. You know, clearly still perceiving that their team of choice are somehow different. You know, the joke's on you, pal. The people that know more than anybody else how much of a farce it is are the political class themselves. Beldam says, well, the SNP are frustrated. They're not at the top table and in amongst the European leadership. So they're playing the statesman. Just goes to show the version of independence thereafter is just a rebrand of the status quo. Of course it does. Of course it does. And it just feels like, I don't know, I mean, you can start to have more contempt for the SNP now than you could have had for Scottish Labour during the referendum, right? During the Scottish independence referendum, when the quislings of Scottish Labour, you know, you've got a resurgent Labour or somebody, certainly down in the south, maybe less so up here, but the SNP and what they've done with the independence cause, you know, it's like job done for the British state. You know, I don't know, it's a bit depressing. George Patterson says cosplay politics from the gradualists, which I think is good as well. It's absolutely correct, you know. It's just not good enough. It's not good enough, and you know, whether you're a hardcore patriot or something, well, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But it's like these are not people who have got either the interest of Scotland. They've not got the interest of anyone but themselves. Aha. Let's have a look at Keir Starmer's. Let's have a look at Keir Starmer's video that Roscoe Hoon made. We're at a crossroads in history, right? Okay, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this, shall we? Here we go.
Volatile times. The first priority of this government, of any government, is the security and safety of the British people. to defend the national interest, particularly in these volatile times. That's why last week
It's like gladiator music or something, isn't it?
I announced the biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the Cold War. That's also why I met President Trump last week, to strengthen our relationship with America.
This is neoliberalism. Do people realise what that's what this is? They have to create. It's all about PR. You know, that's the fundamental. That's the sticky back plastic and the yoo-hoo and that and all the rest of it. You know, the Pritt stick.
And indispensable partners in defence and security. And it's why this weekend I've been hosting European leaders here in London to work together for the security of the United Kingdom, Ukraine and Europe.
A Labour Party leader. A Labour Party leader. That's the look at me. Even Kenzie's at it, right? It's like you can even sort of see in those moments, like, you know, you can even see, like, yeah, you ken yourself, don't you? You fucking teapot. How much shit have they got on you, right? What do they know about you? They must know a lot. Look at the state of the cunt. Like, fuck it, like, you know. Bombaclat.
We are at a crossroads in history today.
Shut up when I'm.
This is not a moment for more talk. It's time to act. Time to step up and
Well, what
lead
are you saying?
and unite around a new plan
Which
for a
is what?
just and enduring peace.
Right. So they're giving the Ukrainians £3 billion, right? Is that what they're giving them? They're giving them £3 billion indefinitely. They're giving £3 billion indefinitely, right? Medical ganja is heeds like my big toe. John Swinney and the current political class are a good reason to leave the country and never ever come back. Yes, I'm inclined to agree, like, you know. If the Muppets had an English Muppet, I'd call that Kirk Palmer. It's true. Today I went out to the minister. It's hard to believe, isn't it? But this is this is the world we find ourselves living in. So, whose boots? Says Eva Comrie. Quite right too. Quite right, Eva. But John Swinney is suggesting that it'll be Scottish boots as well that'll be joining them. Did you notice this? I noticed this. Do you remember this guy, European Powell, who was... remember he was going on about green ports and that? He seemed to be a bit of an expert on it. And he'd blocked me. Well, he's unblocked me, so he must have got wind of the fact. He must have got wind of the fact that he'd become famous on What the X. There are 12,000. What's been said here? This is to Matt Kennard says, did you know there are over 12,000 US troops permanently stationed across 11 RAF bases in England? Jeremy Corbyn told me if he'd been elected PM, he would have wound down the deployment and US access to the bases. Okay. There are 12,000 US troops permanently stationed in 11 RAF bases in the UK. What goes on inside those US bases on British soil is unknown. The UK is militarily occupied by the US, so what is the point of Keir Starmer allowing the continued military presence of the US in the UK if they will not step up when needed? Trump says British can take care of themselves in Ukraine. Britain and France want guarantees that Washington will back up a peacekeeping force after the war. So, What can we say? What can we say about the liberal thirst for continuing the conflict in Ukraine? Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Because there definitely is. There is a section of our. You got folk like Neil Mackay, who's blocked me unfortunately. Scotland's biggest slaver, like, you know. Well, he's from Northern Ireland, but he lives in Glasgow, I think, you know. A guy who seems to be particularly confused. He's never mentioned Gaza once. He's never mentioned Gaza in the entirety of his slavering, of his paid opinionising, or paid opining. But fair play, Sean. But he's right up for everybody should get right behind this anti-Russian vibe. Putin is the devil incarnate, and we need to be seriously considering. We need to be seriously considering shedding blood to maintain the integrity of the Ukrainian border. So this has put Europe at conflict with America. And is it the case that we are witnessing the end of the American empire? I think that's a reasoned perspective, right? This is genuinely what we're witnessing to. We're witnessing to the collapse of empire. A friend of mine, Caroline, was talking at the weekend. She was talking about how, China. We used to have these pictures of the Chinese with their wheelbarrows and that, like the peasants in the fields, you know, and sort of the imperial position would be this sort of condescending look on China, as if it was like these kind of like, you know, impoverished wheelbarrow carrying peasants. That's us now. You know, that's us. China is, you know, light years ahead in terms of its infrastructure and the entire society, you know. And that's a place where capital doesn't dictate the state dictates what happens with capital. So, you know, this is something to consider. So we're looking at the crumbling of neoliberalism as well, right? Beldam says China is the future. They didn't even need to pay for this endorsement. George Patterson says, played gigs at US naval bases back in the 80s. Shite beer, but good money. Was a pain in the arse. Trying to convert dollars into booze and kebabs in Glasgow at 3 AM though. Yes. That's another thing, Israel. Somebody says, when will there be good news from Israel? So Israel have now instigated they've stopped all aid going into Gaza. Arpignon says, witnessing America resetting how their military operate. Less world police, more choosing whose resources they want to take next. Yeah, but it does seem like the American empire is faltering, and you know, we've hitched our wagon to it, and it's lasted less than 100 years maybe, you know. It looks like this is the end of the American empire. In my rudimentary grasp of geopolitics. Yeah, it is like the fall of Rome. It is. Empire. This is. I mean, it is a phenomenal moment in history that we're witness to. Perhaps that's why. Perhaps that's why when we see. I saw J.K. Rowling. What was it I said? It says like this place was always a pub toilet graffiti wall or something, which there's a lot of truth in it or something. But it's like we're literally watching the crumbling of the American empire. We're witness to the crumbling of the West, and you've got these kind of strange hive mind people that are desperate to kind of uphold these kind of moral sensibilities about things on these very niche, peculiar areas of culture. It's all a bit bizarre, and I think I don't want to cut. I'm playing like Lee Scratch, and we want to get a vibe and all the rest of it. It's like I'll try and bring a better vibe on Wednesday, right? But it's not really on my shoulders, right? It's like this is the backdrop. This is the political and social backdrop. You've got a middleman, like somebody says like an Aldi thing. It's like John. There's nothing wrong with being an Aldi manager or whatever, but it's like John Swinney essentially is like some annoying manager somewhere in some nonsense place that has no authority and no meaning about anything, but it's just going to make your life difficult. Has Dr. Scott Arthur applied his reverse Midas touch to the Ukraine situation when he visited last week? Coincidence? I think not. I'll be talking about Scott Arthur on the 28th. If you wish to attend my live event, I'm going to. I'll be maybe we can get Scott Arthur to join us. That would be fun, wouldn't it? But basically, this is the thing. It's like with Swinney, assuming this role, this kind of statesman role, is quite grating. IMHO. Right, tell you what, it's 5-2, started late and I'm leaving early. That's just the way it is this morning. Thanks so much for everybody that's attended. It's been well attended, and I have to say, without the old caffeination, it's not quite the same. But I did have a whole bunch of technical problems. I'm going to leave you with an absolutely brilliant track. It's a new track from I've got two favourite bands in Scotland at the minute, I think, if I can recall, really. I think yes, you don't worry, Rebecca. Rebecca's got to save the day. Rebecca's got to come along. We'll do a live. We might even let me have a think about this, right? We might even try and do a live this Friday instead of Wednesday. I've got quite a lot on my plate. So we'll see what we can figure out. But I'm leaving you. There's my two favourite bands in Scotland right now are Doss and the Gyro Babies. Gyro Babies have got their last album apparently, and it's coming out soon. And their launch is on the Saturday the 29th, which is the day after my live on the 28th. So I'll probably try and get along to there if there's still tickets available. But I'm leaving you with their latest release, which is from their forthcoming album, and it's called The Catch, and it's brilliant. And I'll see you all very soon. Keep your eyes peeled as to when that'll be. Ciao.
Dimly lit, scheme, causey, council, skull, duggery. So busy, it's not funny. Dizzy, spun and fuzzy. Brought down to earth. I was roundhouse kicked, well founded, getting punched about once per month helps me keep well grounded. Overall, I'm more well rounded. Link up the subconscious with the odd knockout. Bless thyself with wisdom to maybe shut up about stuff we don't know much about. Still chase the dun of joy that can make me naive, and I know that dreams are mental, but I still choose to believe. Catch a dream, you're out your depth with the Fisher Price fishing net. Whaling boots up to your neck, get those feet under the desk. We are here for what is next. We are here for what is next. We are here for what is next. My will is built of a paper straw man, tough to tell these days who's truly in your corner. I stood up for the few, I flew into the eye, I rescued dog from fire. So today, well, why can't I? What? The siren saws through my earlobes with a Nino. PTSD, ADHD, OCD. Seesaw as hard as I tried today. I can't even leave the flat. Foot landlocked by the landlord in a tidal wave of panic. The psychic spike of heartbeat palpitations. How can I complain when bombs rain down on nations? The perfect early sunrise conceals a fucking mess. A bright dot in the sky, bringing bread or certain death. Catch a dream, you're at your death with a Fisher Price fishing net. Whaling boots up to your neck, get those feet under the desk. We are here for what is next. We are here for what is next. We are here for what is next. Gallop, I shall gallop, watch me gallop away. Gallop, star jump, gallop, watch me gallop away. Gallop, see me gallop away. Gallop, star jump, gallop, watch me star jump away. You can't star jump away. Star jump away. A perfect star jump is landing in the same position. It is an underutilised mode of transport, but you tend to land in the same destination as you left from, which is why it doesn't get used very much.